All right, so raise your hand if you want to hear a different story today other than Amos and Boris. Raise your hand if you want to hear 3 different stories other than Amos and Boris. Raise your hand if you are going to find the central message of each story. Good answer, because guess what? Even if you didn't raise your hand, you're still going to do it. So today we are going to be in Nearpod again. However, what we're going to do instead of using the Wit and Wisdom text, we are still going to use the Wit and Wisdom lesson, but with a little bit of a Miss Stewart spin on it. So let's go ahead and get ourselves into Nearpod. I'm going to quickly share my screen with you all. And we are going to start our lesson once it comes up. And I will send you the link. So all you'll have to do is click on the link. And put your name in. So I will put that in the chat. And I want you all to give me a thumbs up once you are in. So here is the link. All you'll have to do is type your name in. Let's take about 45 seconds to do so. Welcome in, Jakayla. I'm so glad you could come. Go ahead and go to this link, please. And let's make sure everyone is in. Awesome. I see 6 of you are in so far. Let's see who these lovely people are. Thank you, Isaiah. Awesome job, Jalen, John Pierre, Kaysen, Mariah. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Sky. Let's get some more people in here. I see Jorge is in. Awesome job, Deshaun. Thank you, sir. Peyton's in. Beautiful. Just waiting on 9 more of you, and then we'll be good to go. So take about 45 seconds. Go ahead and get that done. I will set my timer. So once my timer goes off, I should have 8 more people in. Perfect. I have 13. 14. Just need a few more of you in here. So right now I have Chanel, Deshaun, Devon, Isaiah, Jakayla, Jalen, Jean-Pierre, Jorge, Kaysen, Kitty K, aka Raya, Madison, Mariah, Michael, Peyton, and Sky. So if I did not call your name, that means you need to get your sweet little behind in our Nearpod. All right, let's go ahead, go into the next. All right, so I said that you all were able to draw on this. So what I want us to do is first, let's go ahead, we're gonna read the story, and then you're going to create your CTE chart. and pick your answer. So let's make sure we're underlining our evidence for our character trait evidence chart. And then you will be able to draw on your screen as well. So we won't need to type our answers in the chat this time. All right, so we'll take about 5 minutes to do so. Give me a thumbs up if you are good to go. Nobody's good. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. All right, let's look at the story. It says, "Oh no," said David as he looks at the open lid on his hamster's cage. Somehow, when he fed Fluffy the night before, the hamster had escaped. David turned off the television, trying to find any trace of his missing pet. Crunch, crunch, came a sound from the corner of his bedroom. To David's relief, it was Fluffy nibbling on a pretzel. All right, go ahead, CTE chart. How did David feel and why did David turn off the television? So I see Jorge is in progress, awesome. Sky's in progress, awesome. Same with Mariah and Chanel. Those of you who are not on Nearpod, you need to get on Nearpod now. Those of you whose videos are off, this is your last warning to turn them on. Seeing some underlining. Very good job. Loving this. I'm gonna set my timer, give you all about 3.5 minutes. Then we will go over it. Let's go ahead and go back and look at your do now, Kaysen. Very good, Jorge. Awesome job, Sky. Very good, Mariah. Very good, Madison. That's fine. Thank you, Mari. Much better, Kaysen. I see Jorge's also doing his problem solution lesson chart. Very good. Take about 2.5 minutes to finish submitting your answer. Take about 1.5 minutes to submit your answers. I'm gonna go ahead and check on them again. Kaysen, you're good. Jorge, very good. Skylar, very good. Still waiting on Jalen. Very good, Michael. Waiting on Isaiah, Deshaun. Good, Mariah. Waiting on Jean-Pierre. I see Peyton's getting her work done. Good, Jakayla. Raya, check your answer. Very good, Devon. Good, Madison. Waiting on Sublime. Take 10 minutes or 10 seconds, I'm sorry, to finish up. 2, 1. All right. I am seeing a lot of people said the answer had to be B. Why is the answer B? I'm actually going to allow you all to go ahead and unmute yourselves. So I am going to ask Skylar, why is the answer, why did you say B?
I said the answer was B because in order for you to find something or somebody, you have to use your senses.
Okay, very good. If you agree with Skylar, give me a thumbs up. All right, Isaiah, so I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, and I want you to state why you agree with Skylar. So you would say, I agree with Skylar because blank.
Skylar, because if a pet goes missing, you have to actually look for it instead of just saying, nope, I lost my pet.
Very good job. Yes. So Isaiah says, I agree with Skylar because if you lose something, you actually need to go and look for it instead of saying, oh, well, too bad, so sad for me. I need to get off my behind and do something about it. Very good, Isaiah. All right. So again, throughout this, we were looking at why do people explore the sea? Today, we are going to focus on how do art and literature build my knowledge of the world. We have talked about what the central message of Amos and Boris is multiple times. So we're actually going to flip the script and do something different where we are going to identify the central message of 3 different stories. Then we are going to go into Nearpod again, and we are going to go ahead and collaborate on what the central message of a specific story is, and then we're going to continue to practice the agree and disagree. So these are the sentence frames I want us to think of. A central message in whatever story is, I know the central message is this because, or I agree or disagree with someone because. Okay, so I know it says the artist or illustrator conveys this message. I will be asking you questions on that as we read. So I also want us to talk about agreeing and disagreeing. So when we say that, we're going to say, I agree with Michael because da 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 da. So I want you to state, I agree with, I disagree with. All right. All right, so we're going to be doing 3 different stories today. How many of you have ever heard of the story, The Emperor's New Clothes? Not The Emperor's New Groove, but The Emperor's New Clothes. Go ahead and tap your head if you've ever heard that story before. And if you haven't, perfect, because it'll be a new experience for you. Okay, so only a few of you, good. So my mom read this story to me when I was about your age, maybe a little bit younger. So I would like to share this story with you. How many of you have ever heard the story of the first Thanksgiving? The first Thanksgiving, whether it was a Charlie Brown story, whether it was Arthur, whether it was any other cartoon that has explained the first Thanksgiving to you. So my family always watches a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. So I have heard that story. I'm also significantly older than all of you. I'm old enough to be your mothers, which is kind of scary. So I have heard the first Thanksgiving. Who has ever heard the story, The Recess Queen? The Recess Queen. Tap your head if you've heard The Recess Queen. Skylar's heard it. Jorge has heard it. Peyton has heard it. Michael has heard that story. All right. Chanel has heard that story before. Perfect. So what we're going to do is, in each story, we are going to do two things. How many things are we going to do? Hold up your fingers. How many? Two. Yes, beautiful. So the first thing we're going to do is identify problem solution lesson. What are we identifying?
The problem solution lesson.
Beautiful. Problem solution lesson. Second thing we're going to identify is dun, 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 our characters and the character traits. So what are we going to identify? The second thing is what?
Our character traits.
Characters and their
characters.
traits using our CTE chart. Very good. So that's why I asked all of you beautiful people to go ahead and have a pencil and paper ready for today. Okay. Let's start with the Recess Queen. And if you can see my screen where it says the Recess Queen, I want you to stand up and give me your best turkey dance for Thanksgiving. Give me, yes, Jorge. Yes, Skylar, I see you. Okay, Mari. Yes, Kaden. Okay, Michael, get it. I see Madison getting up, ready to shake her groove thing. Yes, honey. Beautiful. You all, I need to just get some dance moves from all y'all. All right, perfect. So I am going to go ahead and make this full screen. I'm going to be pausing and asking questions. So we got to be making sure we're paying attention, right? Here we go. The Recess Queen.
Illustrated by Laura Huliska Beef. Mean Jean was a recess queen, and nobody said any different. Nobody swung until Mean Jean swung. Nobody kicked until Mean Jean kicked. Nobody bounced until Mean Jean bounced. If kids ever crossed her, she'd push 'em and smush 'em, lollapaloosh 'em, hammer 'em, slammer 'em, kiss and kajammer 'em. Say what? Mean Jean growled. Say who? Mean Jean howled. Say you. Just who do you think you're talking to? Mean Jean always got her way.
All right, who is one of our characters in the story?
Mean Jean.
Mean Jean.
Mean
Very
Jean.
good. And what is one way, I'm going to ask someone to unmute, Mari, what is one way we could describe Mean Jean?
Mean and rude and selfish.
Mean, rude, and selfish. All right, so why do we say she is mean and rude and selfish? Michael, what do you think?
Because she always got to boss people around.
Yes. Very good. So she always has to boss people around. Looking at this picture, how do we know that Mean Jean is being bossy and people are afraid of her? Let me ask. Da, 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 da. Jean-Pierre, looking at the picture, how do you know that Jean is Mean Jean and being a bossy recess queen?
Because she's pointing at somebody. I don't know who.
Mm-hmm. And what
And
else?
she's saying me stuff.
Yeah, very good. So looking at the picture, we can see she's on top, kind of looking down at everyone, being like, who do you think you are? Everybody here knows I'm in charge. Awesome job, everyone. Let's keep reading.
Until one day, a new kid came to school. Katie Sue. A teeny kid. A tiny kid. A kid you might scare with a jump and a boo. But when the recess bell went ringety-ring, this kid ran zingety-zing for the playground gate. Katie Sue swung before Mean Gene swung. Katie Sue kicked before Mean Gene kicked. Katie Sue bounced before Mean Gene bounced. The kid you might scare with a jump and a boo was too new to know about Mean Gene, the recess queen. Well, Mean Gene bullied through the playground crowd. Like always, she pushed kids and smushed kids, lollapalooshed kids, hammered 'em, slammered 'em, kits and kajammered 'em, as she charged after that Katie Sue. Say what? She growled. Say who? She howled. Say you! She snarled and grabbed Katie Sue by the collar. Nobody swings until Queen Jean swings. Nobody kicks until Queen Jean kicks. Nobody bounces until Queen Jean bounces. And she figured that would set the record straight. She figured wrong. Katie Sue talked back, just as sassy as could be. She said, "How did you get so bossy?" Then that puny thing, that loony thing, grabbed the ball and bounced away. Oh, Katie Sue was one quick kid. She bolted quick as lightning. Bouncity, bouncity, bounce. Kickity, kickity, kick. Swingity, swingity, swing. Mean Gene thundered close behind. Bouncity, kickity, swingity. The recess. All right, I want you all to take about 45 seconds. And I want you to write down what the problem in the story is on a separate sheet of paper. Problem of the story. Because remember, you're going to be writing down on the collaboration board what the problem is. So 45 seconds, write down your problem for the recess queen. Awesome job, Chanel, getting your work done. Very good job, Jorge and Isaiah. I see Madison's getting her work done. Same with Sublime. See Mari, Peyton, and Mariah getting their work done. Go ahead, Kaden. Yeah, that's fine, honey. All right, take a few more seconds to finish writing up. Thank you, Raya, telling me that you're finished. John Vier, my love, I know you're tired, but we have got to make it through this day, and then you're able to sleep all break, all right? All right, let's keep reading. The queen was not amused. She raced and chased and in your faced that Katie Sue. No one spoke. No one moved. No one breathed. Then from her pack pulled Katie Sue a jump rope, clean and bright. "Hey, Jeannie Beanie," sang Katie Sue, "let's try this jump rope out." Here's one thing true. Until that day, no one dared ask Mean Jean to play. But that Katie Sue just hopped and jumped and skipped away. "I like ice cream, I like tea. I want Jean to jump with me." Jean just...
All right, 45 seconds. What is the solution to the problem? Solution to the problem. I'm going to start my timer again. Take about 30 seconds to finish up writing. Ten more seconds to finish your last little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's keep going.
just gaped and stared as if too scared to move at all. So Katie Sue sang once more. "I like popcorn, I like tea. I want Jean to jump with me." Then from the side, a kid called out, "Go, Jean, go!" And too surprised to even shout, Jean jumped in with Katie Sue. "I like cookies, I like tea. I want you to jump with me." The rope whizzed and slapped. Faster, faster. The rope spun and flapped. Faster, faster, till it caught in a tangled disaster. But they just giggled and jumped again. Well, now when recess rolls around, that playground's one great place. At the school bells ringety-ring, those two girls race zingety-zing out the classroom door. Jean doesn't push kids and smush kids, lollapaloosh kids, hammer 'em, slammer 'em, kits and kajammer 'em, 'cause she's having too much fun rompity-romping with her friends. Bouncity, kickity, swingity, hoppity, skippity, jumpity, ringity, zingity, yes!
All right. Go ahead and write your lesson down for the story. 1 second, Raya. Let's make sure we're staying on mute for now. Lesson of the story, take 45 seconds. So everyone should be writing down, you should have your problem, your solution, you should be working on your lesson. Take about 20 more seconds to finish writing. Jean Vieira, let's make sure we are working. Kaysen, let's make sure we're working. All right, take about 5 more seconds to finish up. 3, 2, 1. Raya, how could you describe, what was her name? Katie Sue. What traits did Katie Sue display and how do you know?
Can I ask a question about what does Lollapalooza mean?
I think it's just a made up word, like just saying she's getting people out of the way. But can you tell me how you would describe Katie Sue?
I would describe her nice, and even though that Mean Gene is mean, she still spoils her, and she's being brave.
Okay, good. How is she being brave?
Because she thought Mean Gene was going to be nice to her, but then she started being nice to Mean Gene. And then one of our star rules says treat people that you want to be treated.
Very true. Yes, one of our star rules is treat people how you would like to be treated. And Raya said she was brave because she stood up to the bully. Remember when we were looking at our character traits chart, we know that one way we can be brave is to tell people they don't want to be treated that way and to stand up for yourself or your friends. Very good. I am going to reshare my screen. And we are going to go into Nearpod. All right, so I want you to tell me what you think the central message of a recess queen is. Go ahead again where you see where it says share your thoughts and or images here. I just want you to type the central message of the recess queen is. So let me go ahead. I'm going to actually annotate on the screen. So this is going to be your sentence frame. The central message of the recess queen is blank. I know this because blank. Let's take about 5 minutes. And I want you to tell me how you know that's the central message. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of people are not telling me how they know that it's the central message. So I want your evidence as well. How do you know that's the central message? What did the story tell you? All right, take about 2.5 minutes to finish typing and posting. Okay, I want everyone to pause for a second. We're still not telling me how we know that essential message. So I need evidence in the story, from the story, saying the essential message of the Recess Queen is treat others how you would like to be treated. I know this because the story states da 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 da. Take about a minute and a half. All right, let's all pause. I want us to put our hands on our heads so we're not tempted to type. All right, 3, 2, 1, hands are up. All right, let's go ahead and take a little bit of time, and I want us to read through these answers. And if you agree, I want you to put a heart on that person's answer. If you agree, put a heart on that person's answer. Take about 45 more seconds to go ahead and agree or disagree with your peers. "23 seconds on the clock. "10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, looking at our screen, I see Peyton has the majority of people who agree with her. So Peyton, go ahead and unmute, and I want you to tell us what you wrote. All right, well, Peyton said, people always have a good side. Some people just have to find it. If you agreed with Peyton, I want you to give me a thumbs up. All right, Sublime, I want you to unmute yourself and tell us why you agree with Peyton. I want you to say, I agree with Peyton because, and then go ahead and say why you agree.
I agree with Peyton because that when we was reading the story, there's one bully that has to find the truth of other people.
Okay, very good. Who else agrees with Peyton and Sublime? Give me a thumbs up. All right, Mariah, why do you agree with Peyton and Sublime? go ahead and unmute, and I want you to tell us why you agree. See if you can unmute now. I just didn't ask to unmute.
Because
I'm going to pause you. I
agree with Kaden because when Mean Jim was rude and selfish, she turned nice.
Okay, why did she turn nice?
Because when Katie asked her to play, she wanted to play.
Very good, yes. So we see that Mariah agrees, Sublime agrees. Very good job, Peyton. So we know people have to find a good, always have good in them. They just need to find it. And again, just summing up what all of us have said, it's because she was bossy at the beginning of the story. She was kind at the end. Katie Sue was just the first person to give her a chance to show her true heart. Very good. All right, let's do one more. I don't think we'll have time to do 3 stories today, but let's go to the next. All right, so again, we're going to be discussing the central message of the Emperor's New Clothes. So again, the 2 things I want you all to do is, oh, I'm sorry, Peyton, is character traits, CTE chart of the characters, problem solution lesson, pumpkin spice latte. So again, we are going to have the sentence frame of the central message of the Emperor's New Clothes is blank because blank. So we're just going to keep that in mind. All right, let me go ahead and reshare my screen with you all. The code is Z as in zebra, 8, the number 8, X as in excellent, E as in elephant, and then 9. All right, can everyone see the Emperor's New Clothes? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Very good. That's fine, Jacayla. All right, so again, we are looking at character traits, character trait evidence. We are looking at problem solution and lessons. So we are going to be jotting those down as we read. So everyone should be seeing the screen. And here we go.
The Emperor's New Clothes. Many years ago, there was an emperor who loved fine clothes. He did not care for hunting. He did not care for plays or opera. He was no lover of gourmet food or wine. His only ambition was always to be well dressed. He had a different coat for every hour of the day. He loved to walk about and show off his fancy outfits. One day, 2 strangers arrived in town. They were swindlers, but they said they were master weavers from a faraway land.
All right.
They told the emperor.
Who is one of the characters in the story, the main character, and how could you describe him based, hold on, wait till I'm finished, stay on mute. Hold on. How could you describe him based on what the text said and how he looks in this picture? So I'm going to ask someone who I haven't heard from in a while, Jalen. Who is a main character in the story and how could you describe him? Kason, can you help him out? Who is a main character in the story and how could you describe him? All right, third time's a charm. Devon, who is a main character in the story and how could you describe them? All right, so boys and girls, we need to be paying attention because a lot of you, the three of you, aren't able to answer because you're not focusing on me, you're focusing on everything else in the background. So, Madison, who is a main character in the story and how could you describe them?
I think his name is Ambers,
The Emperor, yes.
and I can describe him because he doesn't care about anything. He just cares about fancy outfits and stuff.
Very
and
good.
Shows them out.
Very
everyone.
good. Yes. All right, so I agree with Madison because if I only care about myself and things that I have, I would consider myself to be selfish. I would also say that he's snobby just by the way I see him, kind of with like his nose up, just thinking, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And that's shown depicted on how he's standing, what he's wearing, and the fact that Madison was saying he only cares about himself. Very good.
Swindlers, but they said they were master weavers from a faraway land. They told the emperor that they could weave the most beautiful cloth in the world. They said that not only was their cloth beautiful, but it was also magical. It was specially woven so that only the most intelligent people could see it. Those who were ignorant could stare at the cloth all day and not see a thing. Astonishing, thought the emperor. I will have these men make a soup for me. When it is done, I will figure out who can see it. That way, I will be able to tell which of the men who serve me are intelligent and which are fools. The emperor gave the swindlers a purse filled with gold coins and told them to begin weaving the magic cloth right away.
All right, how could we describe the swindlers?
We could describe them by, I think they're mean because helpful and kind of selfish because we don't know what they are, like if they're other people.
Okay, so I am going to agree with the mean, but remember it said that there is invisible cloth. So if they are trying to weave something that's not really there because they want money from the emperor, they would be very what?
Selfish.
Selfish, yes. What else could they be? Good. Greedy, sublime. What else? If you're trying to play a trick on somebody, you are very what?
Sneaky.
Sneaky. Yes, they're being very sneaky. They're trying to trick the emperor into giving them money for something that never existed. Because the emperor is so selfish, as Madison said, and really only cares about himself and his appearances, he is able to get tricked easily by these two people.
The swindlers set up 2 weaving looms and pretended to be weaving their wonderful cloth, but they had nothing at all on their looms. After a few days, the emperor grew curious to see the cloth. At first, he thought he might check up on the weavers himself, but then he remembered what they had said. Only intelligent people could see the cloth. He was confident that he was smart. There could be little doubt of that. But what if he was not? What if he could not see the cloth? Just to be on the safe side, he decided to send his prime minister to have a look. "He is very intelligent," said the king. "If he can't see the cloth, I dare say nobody can." The emperor called for the prime minister and sent him to check up on the weavers. The prime minister went to the room and peeked in. The two swindlers were working away at their looms. "Prime Minister," one of the swindlers called out, "you are welcome here. Come in, come in. Come and see the cloth we have produced." The man waved his hand at the empty loom and said, "Isn't it beautiful?" The prime minister squinted and rubbed his head. He did not see any cloth at all. But he did not dare to admit it. That would mean he was a fool. So he pretended to see the cloth. "Yes," said the prime minister. "It is most beautiful indeed."
All right, let's take about a minute and I want you to write down what the problem in the story is. I'm going to set my timer. Identify the problem. Take about 26 seconds to finish writing down the problem of the story. Very good job, Isaiah. Very good. Awesome job, Michael. Yes, people are being fooled. They can't see the cloth. They tricked the emperor. Everyone, very good job, everyone. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's keep reading and see if we can determine what the solution is.
"I like it very much. Keep up the good work." The prime minister turned to leave. But the second swindler called out to him, "Wait, don't go. You must not leave without touching the cloth. I think you will be impressed. We were just saying that it is the softest cloth we have ever created." The prime minister hesitated for a moment. Then he said, Of course, and he walked up to one of the looms. He reached out his hand and rubbed his fingers together in the area where he thought the cloth must be. He could not feel anything, but he said, "It is very soft indeed. Why, it's lighter than air." "Thank you," said the first swindler. "We are pleased with what we have done, and we are making very good progress too. But we need a little more money for thread and other materials, of course, you understand." Of course.
Why do you think the prime minister is acting like he can see and feel the cloth? Mari, what do you think?
Because he's acting like he can see the cloth because only smart people can see it.
Intelligent people.
Thank you, Skylar and Isaiah. So, Mari, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that.
Okay, so let's not steal each other's thunder. Let's make sure we are being respectful and waiting for the person to answer. And then we are able to go ahead and add on to it. So we know based off of what people have said that he doesn't want to seem like he's unintelligent. Maybe he doesn't want to upset the people who are making the cloth. All right, Mari, now I'm going to ask you this. Why are the swindlers asking for more money?
Because they're asking for more money because they want to be rich.
Yes, they're trying to, again, as people were saying, trick the emperor and asking for more money to keep for themselves. But what did they say they needed it for? Sublime, what did they say they needed it for?
Can you replay the video again?
I can, yes.
We are making very good progress too. But we need a little more money for thread and other materials, of course.
They need money for thread and other things.
Very good. And see, what I love about the fact that Sublime, you asked if we could rewatch the video, is because if we had this on paper in front of us, that would be like Sublime going back into the text to find her answer and use the evidence from the story. So very good job, Sublime. Yes, Peyton, for the clothing. I saw your answer in the chat. Very good job. All right, let's keep reading and
Of course, you
watching.
understand. Of course, said the Prime Minister. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a bag of coins, and then he handed the coins to the swindlers. The Prime Minister went back to the Emperor and told him that the cloth was quite lovely and as soft as could be. He said he was confident that the Emperor would like it. That was what the Emperor had hoped to hear. The next day, he went to have a look for himself. After all, if his Prime Minister had seen the cloth, surely he could see it too. But when he stepped into the room where the two men had set up their looms, the Emperor saw nothing on the looms. This is terrible, he thought. I don't see anything at all. What can this mean? If the Prime Minister saw the cloth, it must be there. Then why can't I see it? Am I stupid? Am I unfit to be Emperor? That would be the most dreadful thing that could happen to me. But out loud, he said, "It is magnificent, truly magnificent. Why, I have never seen cloth so lovely. Shall we go ahead and make you a suit then, Your Majesty?" Yes, by all means," said the Emperor. "You can get my measurements from the royal tailor." The two swindlers sat up late into the night, pretending to work on the suit. They wove more invisible cloth. They cut the air with scissors and stitched the wind with threadless needles. Other noblemen came to inspect the cloth, and all of them pretended to be able to see it, for they did not wish to appear stupid. Soon, the whole town was talking about the wonderful cloth and the Emperor's new suit. At last, the day came when the Emperor was to wear his new clothes in public. The two swindlers presented themselves in the Emperor's dressing room at daybreak. "Here is the jacket," said the first swindler, holding up an empty hanger.
Why is the Emperor pretending, Raya? Why is the Emperor pretending that he can see the clothing? What is he afraid he might be?
The Emperor is pretending like he can see the clothing because he's trying to be nice.
Okay, Hayden. Do you agree with Raya or disagree that he's looking at the pretending to see the clothing so he can be nice? You disagree. Okay, I want you to unmute and tell us why you disagree.
I put in the middle.
Okay, so why are you in the middle?
He wants to pretend that he can see the clothing, but it's not all because he wants to be nice.
Okay, so what would you like to add to Raya's answer?
When the one I read, it said that he was trying to see it because he doesn't want it, because they think he would be a fool if he can.
Very good, yes. So, Caden, very good job. Caden was in the middle because, yes, we could infer that he was trying to be nice. However, he doesn't want to feel like he's unfit to be the Emperor. He doesn't want to look foolish. He doesn't want people to think that he's stupid because, again, these guys were saying you can only see the cloth if you're smart. All right, let's keep listening.
"And here are the pants," said the other, holding one hand in the air. What do you think of them? All of the emperor's men agreed that the new clothes were splendid. The emperor took off his clothes, and the two swindlers pretended to help him put on the make-believe garments. Slip your right leg in here, your majesty. That's it. Now your left leg. Good. Now, I must tell you, these pants are not like regular pants. The fabric is so light and airy that it feels like you are wearing nothing at all. But that is the beauty of them. The men helped the emperor put on the imaginary clothes. Then they led him to his looking glass. How handsome you look, your majesty, said one of the swindlers. All of the courtiers nodded their heads in agreement. The emperor marched out of the dressing room and made his way out of the palace. Followed by many advisors and servants, he marched down the main street of town with soldiers and bodyguards surrounding him on all sides. The streets were lined with great crowds. Everyone had heard about the emperor's new clothes made of magic fabric that only the wise could see.
All right, I want you to take about a minute. I want you to write down your solution to the problem. Solution to the problem. 1 minute. Here we go. All right, let's keep going. Finish up our story.
How lovely the emperor's new clothes are, one man said. And how well they fit him, added a woman. None of them would admit that they could not see a thing. The emperor marched through the street, bursting with pride, showing off his brilliant new suit to everyone in the land. Much to his surprise, they all seemed to see what he could not, and so he was not going to be the one to tell them. Just then, a young child stepped out of the crowd and cried out, "He hasn't got anything on!" A hush fell over the crowd. For a few seconds, nobody said anything. Then everyone began to whisper, "The child is right. The emperor isn't wearing a thing." Then people began to giggle and laugh as they cried out, "He hasn't got anything on!" At last, the emperor knew he had been tricked. He tried to march back to the palace as proudly as ever, but he was blushing from head to toe, as everyone could plainly see. So the moral of the story is, do not pretend to know something you do not know.
All right, so it kind of told us the lesson of the story is just not to trick yourself into thinking something that isn't true. So what was the problem that we identified? Madison.
The problem
was that he when he got into the see the thing, he didn't see no cloth, so he just act like it, and he saw the cloth.
Right, yes. So he was being selfish. He was all about himself. He was pretending he could see something that he couldn't. So the problem was that he was selfish. How did these people teach him not to be selfish and only care about his looks? What did they do? What was their solution?
The solution was that kid said that he wasn't wearing nothing.
Yeah, the kid called him out and said, "You have no clothes on." And the swingers were tricking him to thinking that they were making something for him and just being adored by his kingdom. So the lesson again is that we need to not pretend to know things when we don't, and not to be selfish. If he wasn't so selfish, do you think he would get into this mess? Probably not. All right, we are actually over our time, so we are going to stop here, do a quick brain break and bathroom break, and then we will go into our small group time.